All right, I wanted to get a quick video out before the weekend. I do still plan on doing my Indiana Jones update. I'll probably have time to do that tomorrow, and if I have a chance, I'll do the Rebel Moon update as well. But I wanted to get a quick DC video out, closing out the week here, to talk about a couple of things. The first being the Batman solo movie that has reportedly been canceled by Warner Brothers Discovery now that Peter Safran and James Gunn are in charge. Now, this is some wild stuff that has been spreading over the last 24 hours. There was actually a plan to have a solo Michael Keaton Batman film. What? When I saw this, I freaking laughed. I don't think anybody's asking for a 70-year-old Batman, and I do believe that, this solidifies what the old regime was trying to do. You had Toby Emmerich, you had Walter Hamada. They were going to bring in and have Michael Keaton be the DCEU Batman. Like, how crazy is that? A 70-year-old Batman. And it's going to be fun to have him back as a cameo in The Flash, but my gosh, no. And then you have people on Twitter. The crazy thing is, you have people on Twitter saying, we can't have the Trinity as it is because they're too old right now. Now, granted, the oldest one is Ben Affleck. He's going to be hitting 50. He'll be about 60, if they go with a 10-year plan. And people are saying they were thinking a 70-year-old Batman was going to be okay, but people are complaining about a 50-year-old Batman. Asinine, okay? Completely asinine. I was floored when I saw this, and it's still making the rounds today. Like, everybody is talking about it. And with that, I want to clarify the remarks and bring up something interesting about what Gunn said when he talked about his, when he posted that Twitter stuff that I shared in the last video. He said, some of what the Hollywood Reporter had was true, some of it was half true, some of it wasn't true at all, and some of it they were waiting to see what was happening. And he made the comment of, we're going to bring in what works, and we're analyzing what worked and what didn't work. Here's what worked, and I'm going to talk about what didn't work. Everything post Aquaman has pretty much been a failure. Now, not a complete failure. Shazam made money, but it also had a smaller budget. So they're looking at numbers. That's what it comes down to now, is business. And you have to look at two aspects of this. What made money and what also brought people into the theaters. And it's a fact that everything post-Aquaman where Zack Snyder was not involved has been a failure in regards to people in the seats. It's a fact, okay? You cannot deny that. Wonder Woman 3, in its current incarnation, was canceled. And apparently the story behind that was she wanted to bring, and this is the thing floating around, the story floating around, was that Wonder Woman was going to take Steve Trevor to a Lazarus pit, resurrect him, and he was going to be like a crazy man and had to fight the League of Assassins and some weird crap, okay? I don't know how much of that's true, but they need to move on from the whole Steve Trevor thing at this stage, and I could see why they wanted to cancel it. But on that note, it was canceled, and apparently Patty Jenkins was completely butthurt by this and sent in an email to Warner Brothers Discovery saying, you guys have no idea what a character arc is and all this other stuff. You can read all that on Twitter. It's some crazy crap. But here's what's interesting about the comments that Gunn made and what is absolutely fascinating. So I already told you what worked and what didn't work. What worked was Wonder Woman 1. You know who is heavily involved with Wonder Woman 1? Zack Snyder. That No Man's Land scene is all Zack Snyder. It was written all over him. I can guarantee you that was not a Patty Jenkins thing. It was, from what I understand, is he shadowed her the entire time during the filming to give advice and to help out. So that movie was a lot of Zack Snyder. Everything after Aquaman, where Snyder was not even a producer or involved at all, has been terrible. It just hasn't worked as well. Now, I thought Shazam 1 was going to make a lot more money than it did. I got to see that movie early, and I posted my review, And I thought everybody was going to love that movie. And I think most people did. I enjoyed it. It was a different tone, and that character does need to be a different tone, but totally still fit within the Snyderverse that was created. Here's what they need to do if they want to be successful going forward. And I really wish I could get a job down there working for DC, because I look at this from both angles. I look at it as a fan and also a person who runs a business and understands numbers. If you want people in the seats, you need to bring Zack Snyder back. You need to make him a part of this. You need to finish his story. It is a fact, even though these movies didn't make as much money, and I'm going to talk about that here in a minute, it's a fact that for Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Wonder Woman, especially Aquaman, more people were going into the theaters. Were they making as much money? No, they weren't. And people argue about this all the time on Twitter. But Zack Snyder's movies were a failure. First of all, they were a failure because the studio wouldn't leave his freaking movies alone. Yes, they didn't make as much money because the budgets, what it cost to make those movies. So if you want the best of both worlds, you bring Zack Snyder back to do what he needs to do, and you keep the budget lower to make a profit. Problem solved. This is not rocket science. It's not going to take, all these different people to put two and two together. I think between the five of them, between David Zaslav, Mike DeLuca, Pam Abdi, you've got James Gunn and Peter Safran. I think between the five of them, they can all come to a consensus on what needs to be done, and hopefully it's moving in the right direction. Again, these are my thoughts. I'm not a scooper. I don't know anything more than anybody else, but I'm looking at this as both as a massive fan and as a business person, and I just don't see I don't see bringing in and rebooting everything and bringing in all new people to do this. I think they need to continue with the actors they already have. And here's the good news in all of this. The one thing we do know out of everything is that Henry Cavill did come out and made a very public statement on Instagram, and I do believe he had a contract. I believe he still has that contract. Nobody said that Gal Gadot was done playing Wonder Woman. Even she made a comment the day before this all went down that she was eager to see the next chapter. I think the stuff was already hitting the fan, and she probably already knew that and is kind of letting people know she's still going to be Wonder Woman. I don't think these characters are going anywhere. I don't. Could they do a soft reboot with the Flash movie? That's a very real possibility. They could do kind of like a New 52 thing, which is okay. I want to see the end of Zack Snyder's film, his vision for sure, because I will tell you, I think Zack Snyder's Justice League is probably the best comic book film that has ever been made. That movie is absolutely freaking epic, and I would have liked to have seen it continue. So we're going to have to sit back and wait and see what they decide to do. But the one thing I do know is that Henry Cavill, I'm pretty sure, is locked in. I do not see them getting rid of him at any point. He is going to be the anchor. Zaslav has said many times that they need to put a focus on Superman. We already have a perfect Superman. If you want a lighter tone, that's great. Let's do that. Let's move forward with the people we have and keep what has already come before without forgetting about it and move forward. I really hope James Gunn has got a good head on his shoulders and that he is going to be able to articulate what he needs to and that they can all agree on what needs to be done so we can move forward and make things better for everybody, because it's gotten crazy. And man, the people's comments online, so many people think they know exactly what's happening and they don't. Nobody does. And anybody who tells you they do, freaking liar. Okay. I've never claimed to be that. Some people make comments without watching my videos thinking I said this, or this. Well, and a lot of that stuff's not true. If you actually watch my videos, I give it to you straight and I give you my opinion and what I think makes the best business sense. And we will see what is going to happen shortly. I'm very eager to see what comes out of this meeting next week. If anything else big drops this weekend, I will definitely do another video. I do appreciate it. See you on the next one.